share kind of like what I do at a
Sure,
personal level.
sure.
And if that helps even another person, that's great. But what I do is we all have this inner dialogue, right? Where, it's like, oh, you haven't done this right. Or, this wasn't really the right thing you said. Or, you messed up. I think we all have this kind of like negative chatter, if you will. So try to kind of like first acknowledge it and really recognize it as just being kind of like, your or, my internal kind of like conversation and try to turn this around from negative to, more of a praise. I think that's really, really key. And also what helps me is to really help others, because by helping others, you kind of like learn new things about yourself. You learn, new ways of doing things by sharing with others. So really having that network of individuals that support you, that want you to be great, I think really helps me. So I have identified kind of like people throughout my life, people that are in the same industry at different levels, or people even outside of my industry that are like-minded individuals that, like a good challenge, or, they're ambitious and they want to solve really, like big problems. And I think surrounding yourself with this network is really key. And also praising and supporting others. I believe in karma for what it's worth. And I've seen it throughout my life. Whenever I helped others and whenever I supported others, this support came around. And and I think it's something to think about.
What made you choose tech 25 years ago as a woman, which I can imagine maybe there weren't a whole lot back then? What drew you to working in tech?
That's an interesting question. I don't think I think it wasn't really a conscious decision. And at that point, I didn't realize how male-oriented the sector was. But I liked the pace of work. I liked that we were solving big, really hairy issues. Everybody was very smart. So I felt like by really being in the same group or in the same team and the same dialogue with these individuals, I was learning things and I was bettering myself. And it was kind of like, back then it was really new and evolving. And now I think it's kind of like, even back then, but more so now, it's part of our everyday life.
When you say that it wasn't a conscious decision, it sort of makes me think also of maybe even it was a conscious decision that you went and studied in the Netherlands, but it sounds like you've had the courage, the self-confidence, not sure exactly what it all is, to just say yes and try it and not be sort of fearful of how am I going to pull this off necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, the fear is always there. But again, I think it's the ambition and the curiosity that wins.
Right, absolutely. You talk about sometimes seeing in the past how it was difficult for women to be there, especially in terms of how women treated women. What have you done over the years to sort of be able to address that for yourself, not for others, but for yourself?
Meaning kind of like helping other women?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was very passionate about this, especially being in the tech world and, seeing kind of like the inequalities and the inequities. So even, regardless of whether there were large companies, small companies, private, public sector, I think the two things that I've done is on, in my leadership roles, I made sure that I really helped hired, helped, developed, promoted, and underscored the successes of women. I think it's really key. I remember in cases where I was even challenged by my VPs or by my leaders saying, why is this person, and will this person be successful or accepted in this role? So I think being a sponsor for women to help them start, to help them, get their voice, really underscore their achievements, I think it's absolutely, something that all female leaders should be doing. And on the personal level, I think really becoming a mentor for women in a formal or informal way, even, if you're there to, for them to ask a question, or if, they need some guidance around the next step in their career or an area where they got stuck. I think it's really key to have this network of women. And I do it for myself and I do it for others.
And it really de-escalates sometimes for some of the women in terms of seeing that they're not so different as you or whoever else who's talking about it.
Absolutely. I think it's very easy, especially now for the past 18 months with COVID, it's very easy to feel alone and to feel isolated and to feel like you're the only one that is going through all of this. So having an opportunity to share this, I think, is absolutely key.
Right. And it's harder now too to mark your success, right? Because everything is done at home. So you don't have all that back and forth in the office.
Exactly.
Eve, I wanted to tell you, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your sharing with us some of the psychological issues that you've encountered through your inspirational journey. How can our guests reach you to learn more about you?
You can reach me on LinkedIn, Eve Psalti, and also through the We Global Studios, which is a great platform for women entrepreneurs. And I'm looking forward to meeting and working with everyone in the audience.
Great. Thank you again so much for taking the time.
Leslie. It was a pleasure.
This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital DIY startup platform for women. For more information on her guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. We believe in open and non-stigmatizing dialogue about the hidden psychological difficulties experienced by many successful entrepreneurs and highlighting the strategies used to overcome them, such as the fear of failure, of not being good enough, and that loud, chattering internal critic is critical to helping other founders achieve success. Please join her next week for more Mindset for Success stories. That was Dr. Leslie Knudsen, and you can drop her a line at dr.leslieKnudsen@dr.leslieKnudsen.com.